Now, load shedding, ladies and gents, it is expected to, of course, cost the SA economy 400 billion rands more than what it cost them, of course, in 2022. This is something that is not good for the SA economy, and ladies and gents, it is going to, of course, make the South African Revenue Service to lose about 77 billion rands, which again is not a good thing, because it means that South Africa won't make, or is not making or collecting enough money, which is going to result in them probably not I don't know, struggling to service some of their national debt, which of course is not going to put our economy in a good space. Now, you will know that this load shedding is not only, of course, hurting the consumers or SA consumers, but it is also hurting businesses, meaning that even the companies that we invest in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange are being impacted by this, of course, load shedding, which sometimes results in these companies not generating enough revenue, or the kind of revenues that they were generating previous years, which is not good, because that end up resulting in the shares of the companies we invest in to tumble. Now, with that, the good thing, or the good side about this whole situation, is that in recent days, or in fact I think for the past 3 months, we've been seeing, of course, improvements in the kind of load shedding, or in the kind of implementation we're seeing coming from Eskom as they implement this load shedding. I mean, we are not getting those high stages of power cuts, but we are rather getting, at least in most days, it's being implemented between stages 4 to, I think, until 1, which is something that is not as bad as the time where we saw, of course, load shedding being implemented at stage 6, even sometimes, of course, stage 8. This is not something, or that situation right there was not good, not only to us but also to the economy. This is something, or that was something that was not good, and to see it at least ranging from stage 4 to stage 1, it is something that I think it's better. I mean, it is for these reasons why we are seeing, of course, companies, or some of the companies recovering in terms of course, their revenues or their earnings, which is something that is always good to investors. Now, talking about companies that are recovering, ladies and gents, we cannot ignore, of course, one of the companies in the traveling and leisure industry who, ladies and gents, came out and, of course, announced that they are expecting to see their profits, ladies and gents, grow by as much as 83%. And that company, you will know that it's none other than Spare Corporation. I mean, Spare Corporation, ladies and gents, share price last week, they ended the week, I think, up almost 10%. And this was, of course, because of the comment of these, of course, headlines they announced to notify investors to say that they are expecting their profits for the period which ended in June, ladies and gents, to, of course, see profits increase by 83%. This is something that is quite incredible. I mean, this industry, if there's one thing that you must know about the traveling and leisure industry, it is an industry where we have been seeing a very good recovery. This is an industry where, of course, you will know my favorite companies in the traveling and leisure industry, Sun International, of course, for the period which, of course, or for their total revenues, or the kind of revenues they generated for the year 2022, they saw, of course, getting back to the kind of revenues they were reporting, of course, before the pandemic, which is something that must just show you a very strong recovery that we are seeing from this traveling and leisure industry. This is why, personally, currently in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, this is my favorite industry, which is why I'm heavily invested onto this industry. So I personally believe that more recoveries, we are going to see them continuing into this industry, which is something that, of course, just has to make you to probably go in and do your own due diligence and see which company you can buy, because, ladies and gents, by the statistics, or from the numbers we are getting from the statistics SA, ladies and gents, they are showing a lot of tourists coming into SA, ladies and gents, which, of course, it is getting even much better to the kind of tourist we saw back in 2022. 2023 is better, which is something that, of course, just has to show you that if the companies, or some of the companies in these industries we are in, or traveling and leisure industries, did very well back in 2022, it means that 2023, chances are very high that it's going to also again beat the revenues we saw back in 2022, meaning that companies like Sun International, companies like Spare Corporation, they are still going to do very well, even this year, which is why we're seeing all this, of course, 83% profits that, of course, Spare Corporation is expecting. It's another sign that shows you that this is an industry or a sector that is on a recovery mode, and those of you that are not participating into aiding or maybe finding probably a company that you can invest in within this industry are going to probably miss out on the returns that we'll see, of course, from some of these companies in the traveling and leisure industry. But of course, before I forget, there's rules. You already know that this video is just an entertainment video and not a professional financial advice video. Now, really appreciate it if you can just hit the like button if you are enjoying the content that I'm giving you about not only the SA economy, but also the companies that, of course, or the industry that, of course, or some of the industry that are doing well in terms of the recovery, especially coming from the pandemic. Hit that like button, comment, and subscribe, because on this channel we talk about, or I talk about, anything that, of course, has an impact in the stock market, both locally and internationally. In fact, I go to an extent where I discuss some of my favorite companies, and I tell you some companies that I'm buying. Sometimes I show you how much I bought, sometimes I just don't. So this is the channel, or that channel, that, of course, I cover companies, or I cover the stock market, or any news that have the stock market. So if stock market is your niche, hit that like button, subscribe, and once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click that notification bell so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Otherwise, before wasting any more of your time, one of the things that is making me to discuss all these things, or that made me to give you that long introduction to this video, ladies and gents, it is because yesterday I read an article which showed that ABSA came out and increased, of course, their GDP forecast for South Africa to around 0.7%, and this is from their previous 0.4%, which they had previously projected or predicted, which is something that to get to see, ladies and gents, these financial or big financial institutions coming out and increase their GDP forecast, just as to show you that then South Africa, it is expected to grow. Now they are seeing some good growth coming in from the second half of this year. This is something that is truly amazing. I mean, IMF is one of the, of course, international institution that came in and, of course, revised their GDP forecast for South Africa from 0.1 to 0.3, which is something that is good. I mean, Nedbank, again, it is another local, ladies and gents, that, of course, came out and increased their GDP forecast for South Africa for the year 2023, which this just proves that obviously our economy is expected to, of course, recover much more than what was expected probably when we started the year, which is something that is always good, because then this means that even the companies that we invest in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange or locally are expected or will do very well as the economy, or as these analysts of big financial institutions are coming out and increase their GDP forecast for South Africa for the year 2023. So I was very excited, and I'm not surprised, because like I said, we are already seeing some of the companies coming out and say that, you know what, we are actually going to do well in terms of our profits this year, which is something that is supposed to be taken as also a very good sign to say that our economy won't do as bad as so many of the analysts or so many of the, of course, institutions were predicting initially or at the first half of the year 2023. So this is making me to be excited, and making me to do this video to let you know that, guys, it looks like there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and hang in there. I know that most companies in South Africa are not doing that well in terms of course, the share price, but it shows, or signs are showing, that recovery is, of course, coming very soon, or recovery might be coming very soon, and chances are we are going to see companies recovering more. And with the traveling and leisure industry, ladies and gents, as I said, these are the companies, or companies in this industry have already started, or we have already started seeing, of course, recovery coming out from this company, which is supposed to be taken as a very good thing, to say that those that probably go in and check, of course, some of the companies that they can buy from this industry are definitely going to be, of course, rewarded. And as I've said personally in my South African ABSA portfolio, this is an industry that seriously dominates my stock market portfolio, because I believe that the more we see, of course, international or tourist inflows increasing, of course, coming into South Africa, is the more we are going to see this industry, or the traveling and leisure industry, recovering. I know that there are some sectors or industries in South Africa, like the mining sector or industry, which is still heavily hit, and also there, I think, as things like load shedding improves, ladies and gents, we are going to see things, of course, also going back to normal. Those companies generating the kind of revenues they were generating before, of course, we had this load shedding being this serious in this country. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, comment and subscribe. And once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click that notification bell so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in the stock market investing journey, and God bless you all.